Welcome to the Lot 17A podcast. This is the match review panel for the victory against Wakefield. Enjoy.
O'Connor out to that left-hand side. Quick hands. Is now the time for the deadlock to be broken? Yes, it is. And it's David Bussatua. Back it comes. Picked up on the half volley by Austin. Gets the cross kick away. It's patted back. And Newman! And Caesar's broken through. Pass to his left. And Holroyd's over! Left side. With Austin, finds Myler, out he goes, and Bussatua will go in untouched on that left-hand side. Delays the pass, that's going to come off a Wakefield play. Picked up by Richie. Myler's going to stretch his legs down this right-hand side. He gives it to Nene McDonald. McDonald's got 40 metres to go. Kershaw's coming across. Nene McDonald points the finger, and Leeds Riders wrap up the victory.
Hi everybody, welcome to the Lot Pod, the Leeds Rhinos Lot 17A podcast, kindly sponsored by ACD&B, who are a branding and creative design agency based in Farsley, Leeds. They create standout brands, so for any companies out there that need a brand new logo or a brand refresh, just get in touch with ACD&B. Thanks as always to them for sponsoring us. Not only do they sponsor the podcast, but they also create, design, produce amazing, if I do say so myself, fanzine. Issue 2 is available now. Unfortunately, for those people watching this on YouTube, it's there as I point at it. I quite clearly forgot to hold it in my hand, but I can assure you it has an amazing front cover because Danny Maguire's on it. Issue 2 of the fanzine is available. You just Google the Lot Pod store. That first link will take you to our shop where the badge is, and issue 2 of the fanzine is available to buy. Issue 1, everybody, please listen. We have no more copies of issue 1. Please stop asking. Just buy number 2 instead. New panel for Leeds versus Wakefield. The first intro went down a storm. So he's cooked up another storm. Statman Reese, how are you?
Yeah, very, very good, thank you. Very, very good, thank you. I've just seen in the comments before we start anything, Robbie's just commented saying that he's in hospital, so thanks for something for him to listen to. So, Robbie, all the best with recovery for being in hospital. But yeah, another week, another intro. I'm a bit worried. I know, obviously, we have faith and we're not going to lose a game for the rest of the season. But for that eventuality, when we do lose a game in maybe 3 or 4 seasons' time, I can't use it as an upbeat song, really, can I? We'll cross that bridge when it comes to it.
Yeah, that's years and years.
Yeah,
that's
years.
That's once Rowan's, kind of said, right, there you go. Thrown the keys to the castle back and runs off into the distance. We'll cross that bridge when we come to it. I don't want to gloss over Robbie being in hospital. So, Robbie, get well soon. Speedy recovery. Thanks for listening. I hope we keep you company over the next hour or so. Just on the intro as well, JD's great, James Dayton at Radio Leeds. Do you agree? I think, and I'm genuinely saying this, he would be fantastic on television coverage.
I think he would do. And obviously, we like James because he's invited us on BBC Radio Leeds twice. So he's a really nice bloke as well. I did actually tweet him the other day saying, I'd love to commentate cough cough. And he liked it. He didn't message me. He just liked it. But no, I like...
Yeah, that's as good as it's getting.
Yeah, it's bad. Yeah, I do like James. I think he commentates really, really well. So I'm pleased that Rhino has put the BBC Radio Leeds commentary on it because it meant I could do the intro this week.
Exactly. So the match review panel for Leeds versus Wakefield. Who's our guest this week, Reese?
We have James with us this week. Hi, James. How are you?
Evening. I'm good. How are you?
Yeah, good.
Lot Pod squad number 3. The Lot Pod's Callum Watkins. What did you feel when I put you at centre, James?
Oh, I like that. I'll take that.
James, have you played rugby?
I have.
What position did you play?
In the centres.
Oh, did you? Oh, right.
Wow, look at that.
So
I can read the game. I can read the game.
Yeah, that's it.
So I got 2 right.
Yeah.
Apparently so.
I got
You've not got me right still, but anyway.
No, but we won't talk about that. I got Chris right, but he said he's more of a 7, and I got James right, so I got 2 right. 2 out of 17 is not too bad. First
It's
of
not
all,
bad, that.
let's talk about the weather, because initially, when we all woke up Friday morning, it did look pretty bad. The Rhinos were adamant that the game were going on, and they got the game on. So first of all, full credit to Ryan Golding and all the staff there, because quite clearly they did an amazing job just to get this game on around the ground. But prior to that, James, looking out, seeing the weather, was there any doubt in your mind to think I'm not going to be bothered going to this game in these conditions?
Absolutely not. I were expecting the yellow ball to be out and lines to be scraped up field. I'm full of optimism. I were ready to go and face the snow and stand in the stands and watch that game. So
Me and Reese were gutted for other reasons, but were you always going to go down to the game as well, Reese?
Yeah, I had a shovel ready. I'd have been, like Bradford Bulls. I mean, how sad is that, by the way? Bradford Bulls having to tweet out for help to clear their own pitch. Bless them. Actually, no, not bless them. Anyway, but yeah, like I was ready for a shovel to get out there. We had the day off, didn't we, on Friday, me and you, like for other reasons. But we know from that Ryan Golding podcast that there is no way that Rob Oates would not let that game go ahead. So I imagine Ryan was at the club all night on Thursday night, all through the night, sorting that out. And to be honest, even around the ground, it was spotless. So full credit to Ryan and the rest of the Rhinos team. It sounded like they all mucked in. But you're a wimp, because you said you've been moaning about how cold it was. It wasn't even that cold. I saw 3 people wearing shorts.
3 mentalists, yep. Carry on.
Yeah. But it wasn't even that cold, because you sit in your little stand at the back and you sit down. That's your problem. You sat down. To be fair, for the first 40 minutes, I was bloody freezing because I had nothing to celebrate or move about. But, pathetic. It wasn't that cold, was it, James?
No, to be honest, I were fully expecting the same or worse conditions as that Catalan at home game last year. And nah, that was 5 times colder, and it was -6 or something on Friday. Didn't feel it one bit.
It's just me then.
Did you wear a hat?
It's just me that were freezing.
Did you have a hat on?
I wore a hat.
Okay.
I tell you what I wore. I wore a hat, a snood. Then I had a t-shirt, a jumper, a fleece, and then like a real legit winter coat. Like the coat initially when I bought it years ago said like it'll handle weather like -10. Then I had boxers, long johns, trousers, 4 pairs of socks. I didn't have any gloves, trainers.
You had 4 pairs of socks.
To be fair, 4 pairs of socks on, and I don't know how, but the only part of me that were freezing to the point where there was a stage around the 23rd minute of the game where I thought I'm going to go home because my feet are going to drop off. I felt like I was losing toes. Like I was taking my trainers off and like looking at my toes thinking, are they still attached or are they physically rotted away and frozen off my body? My feet were so cold. When I got home, I said to Harriet, I need to invest in some boots and wellies because I'm never, ever letting that happen ever again. But I was kind of thinking, that's really boring, but I was kind of thinking like the weather has made this game against Wakefield memorable, don't you think? Like people, if it was just Leeds Wakefield in a normal Friday night and we always beat them, so what? Unless something happens that's remarkable, it's forgotten. But
I think the weather, that first half certainly wasn't memorable. As pictured by the highlights on the YouTube, where I don't know if you watched it, the match action highlights, they literally just James Dayton do the commentary. It kicks off, and then the next highlight, a second later, is the second half. There is literally no highlight of the first half whatsoever on both the Rhinos and the Super League official highlights, which I think sums up the game.
Yeah, pretty much does. Onto the game. Positives. First positive, James, came from the team sheet, don't you think, with Bentley and Newman included on the bench?
Absolutely. In the pre-game presser where he said that they both feature. That's brilliant. That is good news. We're finally getting all these players returning from long-term injuries oh, well, I don't know about Bentley's, but, getting these players back that we value, want to see in squad every week. So it's good. It's good for the competition. I think at the minute, asking the questions of who's going to play where is brilliant, really. It makes me quite excited.
You must have been buzzing seeing those two included, Reese.
Yeah, massively. Bentley was like a little giddy kid, wasn't he, when he came on the pitch?
Yeah.
He was just running around all over the place. Loved it. And again, we talked about the other week when certain players come on and lift. Again, you felt the whole stadium lift when Newman sort of started warming up. I said to my mate straight away, he'll score his first touch because I'd been bigging him up all week. So Newman's back, he will score his first touch, and obviously he did. But yeah, no, seeing Newman back, I liked how that Rowan resisted not to put Newman on early when Hanley got injured.
Yeah, me too.
He followed the plan. It was, I'm really pleased to see Newman back, and obviously Bentley as well. And hopefully they'll be back for more minutes next week.
I thought the game itself, just on Newman, like, even though it were 0-0 and it was a pretty dreadful game, especially the first half, exactly as Reece said, I sat with my mate and we kind of said, it's fine, because the second Harry comes on, he's going to light up the game and score at least one try. And if we win 6-0, who cares? Because we're all sat in the freezing Arctic tundra. And if we win and go home, it's forgotten. So that spark was guaranteed. Wakefield are so shite, there was no way they were ever going to stop Harry from scoring. And it felt comforting knowing that we had him back.
It was the first thing that he did, though. It was when the kick came up, and the first thing he did.
I think it was the first time he touched the ball.
Well, no, even before we saw the try, the first thing he actually did was nail the fullback.
Yeah,
the first thing he did, he literally just came on, kick came on, and he hit him. I was like, right, Newman's back, class. And then his next thing is scoring a try. So his first two inclusions were exactly what you'd expect a player like him to do.
Did you expect the same, James? Did you just think, it's okay because Harry's there and he's definitely going to score?
Yeah, he's got this energy about him, isn't he? He's electric, really, isn't he? He's
dynamite.
Yeah, that's it. He's dynamite.
The man of steel.
Ginny's got it right in the comments. It's like a cage lion. Warming up on the sidelines. So, no.
It's the energy as well. The way you saw him celebrate that try, like, it obviously meant a lot to him as well to be back on field. Like, he obviously expected to be back for the grand final, and then he got setbacks, and then he thought he'd be playing for England, and then he got setbacks, and I think he just deserves to be in that team. He deserves to be starting every week. He's so good, and he's so valued as a player.
I had full Patrick Bamford vibes there when he scored that try. Because remember
when
Bamford got that last-minute equaliser at Brentford last season and he pulled his hamstring celebrating, I thought when Harry did that massive dive...
dive, and you were like, oh, he's going to go.
I thought, oh, God, Christ, here we go.
That doubt is always in my mind with Harry Newman. It's probably in everybody's my mind is fragile. Like, I worry every time he bursts into action because he kind of gets the ball and I can't explain it. It's like his movements are more intense than anyone else. Like, he kind of jolts and steps and he almost like bursts. Like, other players will tend to like slowly maneuver and then move, but Harry's almost like that instant impact. And I do worry. Like, almost every time he touches the ball, I think, please just don't get injured. Just make it through. And I'm kind of hoping now, as we all are, from this moment now, we see like that Callum Watkins kind of turn where Callum came in young and had a couple of bad injuries, but then from that moment, just kicked on his whole career and went on to become a real champion player. So I'm kind of hoping that Newman does similar. Someone who I'm starting to feel now, we waxed lyrical about Leon Ruan in pre-season, but someone, and I'll ask you both, who I feel is undroppable is McDonnell. Do you agree with that, Reece, and his form?
I do. I mean, did I say was he second in the tackle count, I think, on the day? I think he got 43 tackles on the day, yeah. So that was second in the tackle count. He was up there last week as well. But he just doesn't he quietly goes about his job and just doesn't look out of place. But you also saw some other little things. And one of the things I wrote down in the positives, I wrote the word boshing because there was 3 times players literally put, and when we were attacking, put people on their arse. McDonald did one on the right-hand side towards the south stand. So it showed how strong he was despite his stature. And then he has his little improv when he did the kick through towards the end.
That was a beautiful kick.
Yeah, and I just think it was great to see him do a bit more of attacking wise rather than just all the defensive work. But he put in a hell of a shift, and he doesn't look out of place, does he? At all.
You agree with that, James?
Yeah, absolutely. He fits right in. He kind of just sits in there quietly, does his job, and he does it really well. So it's awesome. It's a signing that's paid off so far.
It is, and it sounds like we're not really talking him up, but I think at this stage of his career, being young and relatively new to Super League, I genuinely think it's one of the biggest compliments we can give him that he's come in, and I'd play him until keep him in. It's in form. I know Gannon's due back, and we've had Ruan there, and Bentley's back, and Martin, and quite stacked in second row. But I hope Rowan sticks with him and says, you did it at Saints. You've done it again against Wakey. I know they are shy, but you're backing it up and kind of back the kid to perform and to continue to perform. But that kick and some of the stuff he kind of did, it's me and my mate were sat there, thinking, yeah, he looks Super League standard already.
Yeah,
looks set. And as we were walking out, we kind of said, does Gannon come back in? Do you bring Gannon back in, James? Or are you? I know Morgan's awesome. We've waxed lyrical about him from day dot, but do you change a winning team, James?
No, not at this point. I think the inclusion of Bentley off the bench as well. Or maybe it's just because it was his first game back, he was really ready to go. But the energy he brought off the bench and the way he stuck into tackles and created the attacking shape, I think we'd benefit from having McDonald on and then Bentley on the bench. I do like Gannon and he deserves a spot in the team, but this is that thing I said about having competition for spaces with such good players. It's hard, but you don't change the winning team, do you, unless you really have to. So I'd be leaving as is for now.
We've got a short week as well, haven't we? Because it's Cass's on Thursday. So we've got a short week, slightly shorter week. Gannon's had a couple of head knocks in terms of the concussion. I don't think at his young age we should be rushing him back too quickly. But, Bentley, I love Bentley, and the Bentley we saw towards the second half of last season was phenomenal, and I thought he had a great game again. I loved how, by the way, in his first game back, he had to have had a headband on. He had to do that because of what he's like. But
yeah,
I think
I thought that he did the headband thing at half time on purpose. I don't think he needed it. I thought I got the feeling that he was just in at half time. And like, right, we're going to win this game. I'm just going to take my head up to look a bit tougher.
Accessorizing.
I think you actually probably, if Bentley's fit, I probably think you start Bentley over McDonald, and that's not because I don't think McDonald's not done a good job. I think he's been excellent, but Bentley is a great player as well. And
it's no bad thing as well.
He didn't not play well either. He played well, I thought, on Friday.
It's no bad thing as well. Like Reece says, giving Morgan another week if he needs. Especially he's had a couple of concussions in succession, unfortunately. If we give him that extra time, that's no bad thing. So I just think we're in a good spot in terms of that. We're lucky. We've had 2 players back in Newman and Bentley, and unfortunately Hanley and Lehman are kind of dropping out. But the squad still, like Rowan says after the game, the squad still feels competitive and there's lots of competition for places. Have you got some stats for us, Reece?
Yeah, I do. Yeah. So let me just bring the tweet up. So I don't know if you noticed, on the first thing I said was there's actually a couple of trends emerging with the team stats. And one that I really like is that we're actually increasing our number of tries per game by 1 a week. So in week 1, we got 2 tries. And then that's gone up by 1 each week. So we had 5 tries on Friday. So if my
Wow.
theory works,
So that means we're going to get 35.
yes, so by round 27,
Wow.
we should be at least on round 28 by round 27. So God knows what score we'll be getting ahead. So that's good. We're also making less tackles per game as well, which shows the switch in the attacker influence. But there's signs that things are changing, obviously, from the start of the season that we had. But we had 1,492 meters in total. As a team.
Wow.
Five of our players got over 100. McDonald's got 204.
Wow.
Which I think is brilliant. Fussy, 145. Martin, 138. Alford's got 117 meters. And I'm going to say this is forward meters, not sideways meters. This is forward meters. And I did enjoy during the game that every time Alford's got the ball in the second half, the South Stand was going, forward! It's run forward. Smith got 114 meters, and I'm going to put an honourable mention for Tetivano, who got 97. Who, my observation with Tetivano, I thought he ran bloody hard on Friday night, but we'll come back into that in a second. Tackles wise, I mentioned McDonald on 43, but he was beaten by O'Connor with 46. Bentley had 39. Smith had 35, and then we only had 4 players that didn't contribute with a tackle bust. No surprise in that McDonald led that with 8 on the night as well. So they're sort of just some of the stats, and some of the things I think individuals that need highlighting. I think Fussy needs highlighting. I said the last 2 weeks, its stats showed that he's been working hard. He's now done 3 rounds where he's made over 110 meters in each of those games. He's been in the top 2 carries in each of those 3 rounds. And obviously he got 2 tries on the night. He didn't get credited for an assist for Newman's try, which I don't know how that works. I think Miner's been given it for some reason. Or Caesar.
Miner?
I can't remember who made the kick. Was it Caesar? It was Caesar, wasn't it? Was it Austin? Austin's been given the assist then. But
wow.
Fussy 2 had knocked it down. So anyway, so Fussy deserves an assist. So I think Fussy had a really good night. I thought Lasone, he did 8 carries for 81 meters. So that was 10 meters per carry for Lasone in the shift that he came on. And Myler got 3 assists, actually. Speaking of Myler.
He had a good game.
He did have a good game. And I have to admit, I fully agree with his final assist. When, if I'm in Myler's shoes and let's try, there is no way I'm going to make the whole thing. I know in my own head, I'm not going to make this, nor do I even want to try to make this. So let's just give it to the quicker guy on the inside. But I kind of like the selfishness, get McDonald his first try. So
I've got a couple of rules for life, and one of my prominent ones is if I don't have to run, don't run. So quite clearly, Richie Myler, he's got the same motto in saying that. He's got the break, looked inside and gone, actually, yeah, here you go.
That's twice in 2 weeks he's done that, because he did it with Ash against St. Helens as well, didn't he?
Did it with Ash. But we'll come to McDonald later, because he needs his own section. I thought Lissone, when he came on, added a lot of power and punch to the game. From the second he came on in the second half, which was required. Do you feel that slowly but surely, James, we're going to see a real quality player burst out of Sam Lissone?
Yeah, absolutely. I think he carries the ball really well, and he makes some good meters easily. He's obviously very strong. He's also quite top heavy. At first, when we first saw him play, there were questions around like how fit he was, but I think he's fit enough to come off the bench. Make those meters, especially post contact, that we really need. I think he's going to be really good. Also noticed he did something really weird on Friday. I don't know if you guys noticed, but after we scored one of the tries, we were walking back. He sprayed water all over his boots, and I don't know why. And it's like the guys are saying maybe they're tight for him. It's like, well, surely you've cold water soaked them before, but it was just a really weird thing that I picked up on him doing. And I don't know if it helps his game, but whatever.
It worked.
It worked, yeah.
Well, it was his best game in a Leeds shirt so far.
I agree.
And I was talking to it with a couple of people on Twitter. And then I think Lasone, obviously, it's his best game. His first couple of games weren't great. but none of the signings aren't not hitting at the moment. Obviously, McDonald's hit well and truly hit. I've even forgotten who was our previous centre. Can't remember. Don't care. That was a bit. I obviously know it's Sutcliffe, but McDonald made me completely forget about Sutcliffe. Obviously, McDonald's been an absolute hit in that retrospect. I'm trying to look at the new signings. They're all I'm kind of 50-50 on at the moment, but we're seeing good things of him. Lasone, again, a bit 50-50, but we're seeing good things. But I wouldn't say any of the signings have been duds as of yet. Sangare, obviously, as well in that.
Is that them all?
I think so. I think I might have missed a couple.
Someone similar to Sam Lasone, who is growing game by game and showing us exactly what he's made of, is Tom Allroyd.
I love
Thought
Tom
again, as each game progresses, he seems to just get better and better and better. Obviously scored a try as well on Friday. I can't wait, Reece, to see the partnership of Tom and Mick back together, reunited, to kind of finally, long term, show us exactly what they both can do.
Yeah, I thought Tom doesn't look massive, does he? Like you compare him to other.
You're right, because
God.
When he did score, I said to my mate, "Is that McDonald?" I thought it was McDonald who scored. So you're right, in that size frame, especially someone like Sangare, there's a big difference.
Yeah, he's done. I mean, I don't think anyone's as big as Sangare at the moment. Maybe Lasone, but he's definitely fit. A lot of people said in pre-season that Holroyd was fitter, and he's certainly quick. I like the fact he's on the shoulder of Caesar when Caesar makes a line break. I think that's really, that's great to see from a prop. But he's really started to come. And you got that 4-year contract, didn't he? And I think he deserved that. And I think we're really starting to see that. Again, it's the future of the props thing we were talking about. Sangare's 23, 24. Holroyd, I can't remember how old he is. Mick's only, 23, 24. You've got a really good future of props there. But I thought Holroyd was great. But the thing I love about Holroyd is he never finishes the tackle when he hits the line. When someone makes a tackle, he doesn't just go to the ground, and that's sometimes what annoys me about Tetevano. He really pumps the legs. He gets himself into a position where he can drive his legs, and he always makes us go forward in the tackle so that Jared can pick it up. And that's probably the best thing I like about Holroyd, is that he never finishes the tackle at the point of contact. He always seeks to take that extra couple of meters to make sure we're on the front foot.
You agree with that, James? Tom Allroyd picking up some form.
Yeah, he looks really good, to be fair, and I think obviously it's probably something that he's worked on for himself after the previous season he's had and how much rugby he's missed. I think he obviously wants to get back into it, and really obviously put in a good stint when he is doing that while he's getting that opportunity to start. He's looking really good, and he does carry that ball really well, to be fair. He's obviously very strong, and he's a great prop. And again, it's another competitive spot where we've got really good players available.
It is. You're right. Robert said in the comments, on our YouTube comments, are we better with Leeming out? Jared just supplying the halfbacks and Smith making them do some work. I think a player, again, leading the tackle count race, am I right? 46th?
Yeah, so he led the tackle count, but you can compare. I've got some stats from this season to compare Jared and Leeming. Leeming's missed 11% of his tackles this year so far, whereas Jared's only missed 7%.
That's a big. That is such a big difference.
Yeah, and you'd think that Leeming would run from dummy half more, but he hasn't. Jared's ran 15 times from dummy half, whereas Leeming's only ran from 13. He's also got a higher average gain as well. So Jared's got 6.3 meters per carry. Leeming's only got 5.8. And there's only a game difference between the two. The stark difference, though, between Jared and Leeming is that Leeming's got a try and assist. And that's always where Jared probably does fall a bit behind. But from what Jared brings to the team, he's always straight out there at the front leading the line of defence. And I think that's where I prefer O'Connor over Leeming, because he's much better in defence, and the other parts of his game will come as he learns that hooker side. But I think there's elements of that you can say that just supplying the halfbacks. In our first half, the halfbacks were just doing the same. They were just passing it to the next man as well.
Yeah.
So no, I definitely think we're better with O'Connor there at the moment.
You agree with that, James?
Yeah, absolutely. I think I don't dislike Cruz, but this season he's looked like a rabbit in the headlights. He's looked so lost. He takes on so many players by himself far too often, and then we end up in positions on last tackles where it should have been passed out to the halves and he didn't do it. And O'Connor's doing that, doing the right things. Is obviously he's leading the tackle count. And Lehman gets involved in the tackle count, but then somehow manages to create more penalties off of it. He's always holding down, creating six again, slowing down play. And obviously, the flip side of that is O'Connor's leading the tackle count and not giving those away. He's doing the right things defensively. And like Reece said, he's going to learn those attacking things as he develops his role as a hooker. But we look more structured. We look better. It looks right with O'Connor at 9 at the minute.
It does. It looks better. It looks right. And he should have got the number 9 shirt for me. I think he should have been the one to get it, but that's my opinion. I think with this kid, because he's young enough for me to call him a kid because I'm so old, I just get the feeling that we're looking, or this is how I see it. I just feel we're going to see a real long, successful career with Jared O'Connor. It comes... Rowan said in the post-match presser that I think Cam actually asked him about O'Connor and how sensational he's been, and that transition into hooker. And Rowan pretty much said it was just something that he kind of suggested, and Jared said, "Yeah, I'll do it. What do I have to do?" And it just comes across as so professional at such a young age. I can just see Jared being a real key Leeds player for years and years and years to come. And I am going to say this, similar to like James Roby at Saints. That's how highly I rate this kid, in that kind of mold of like when we spoke about on the Saints review about whether they were missing Roby and his influence, and would Saints have still acted like petulant little bitches like they did without him? If James Roby was there, I feel maybe one of them would have still acted petulantly like a little bitch, but I think the rest of them would have looked at James and he'd have said, we don't play, we don't act like that. Similar to what Kev did with us. And I feel Jared's going to get to that level of, just because he just comes across as so professional, in that pure young age, and like he's like a thoroughbred, isn't he? He's pure breed within the O'Connor family, and I think he's going to have an enormously long, successful career with us, and I think he should have been our number 9.
I don't think Leaming's done, though. Sorry, before you said move on, I don't think Leaming's done. The guy got 12 assists for us last year and 4 tries. Again, and this goes back to James's point, I'd much rather have that problem than not have anyone capable of playing that position at all. So I still think Leaming's got a part to play.
And another position where, when Leaming comes back, we're like, Jesus Christ, where does he get in?
Yeah.
Where does he fit in? So in terms of the squad, it's looking so stacked. But another player from Widnes, coincidentally, who I feel is just coming on leaps and bounds, and coincidentally, also kind of transitioning into a newer position, is Sam Walters. Do you feel, we've kind of said on the podcast since Rowan came in that Sam was a back rower, but Rowan played him as a prop. Do you think he's made that transition now, James? Do you think he is a prop?
Yeah, 100%. And when you asked me last year if I thought he should be a prop, I thought the same. Then it looks really good there.
It does.
And he's I don't know if it's how tall he is. His frame's clearly a lot bigger as well this season. So he's so strong carrying the ball. Like the way he puts his arm out to fend, and he carries at least 2-3 defenders with him as he makes an extra 5 meters from contact. And that's what you want from a prop. He's really, really developing that role. It's just really, really good. Yeah,
he's got the frame for it, and he looks intimidating. Reece, do you think that hit when he smashed Leeds at Saints? Do you think that kind of hit, putting someone, I know Matty Leeds has got a decent pedigree, putting someone like that down so easily, you think that that's kind of showed the rest of the league, this kid is here, showing everyone what he's got, and almost put a marker for the other forward to kind of say, right, I know this kid's got a lot in him. Let's kind of see what he's worth in a good sense, you know.
Yeah, because Mike Leeds isn't a bad player, is he? So to do that and put it's like you say, it's laying the marker. This is my position now. This is where I am.
This is what I can do. Yeah.
You didn't get a tackle bus on Friday, which I just can't believe. Really,
I can't believe that.
Him and Tetivano both didn't get a tackle bus, but I did notice if you watch how they both carry, it is quite similar. And I noticed that Tetivano's sort of running in with the shoulder, and Walters is very much sort of doing the same in terms of how he's carrying. But he carried hard again, and that's what I really, really like to see. And then just to respond to James's thing, he's 200 centimeters tall, James. So that's 6 feet and 7 inches.
That is intimidating.
Yeah. So if you've got someone that big that can break the line, and it doesn't even have to necessarily break the line. Peacock's offloads, most of them was when he was above him, weren't they? They're never really from the other side. So if he can, there's a definitely
outstretch the arm and it's away, isn't it?
Exactly.
Off you go. I suppose we better touch on Wakefield a little. Their half-back, they've only got one. Mason Lino, I felt he was their best player in a dreadful team. I bet you can kind of guess where I'm going with this.
I know.
If he is available for 2024, James, do you think that's someone Leeds should be looking at, or do you think we should be looking at other options?
Possibly. Obviously, his performance doesn't necessarily reflect on the team, does it? I think when they were attacking, the attacking shape came from him. He seduced defenders in a lot. His goose step and things like that. His dummy plays, they all look really good. But it's hard because he's in that Wakefield team that are clearly relegation fodder as it currently speaks. Also on that, I don't know if you guys saw somewhere on Twitter a stat that their 3 losses have all been nils, which hasn't happened since the Second World War or something like that. So
I asked for that. I asked for that stat from a billion records.
Yeah,
and if they lose, if they don't score a point in the next game, it's the first time in history in any game. I think that it's 4 zeros in a row.
It's not looking good for him, is it? It's really not looking good for him. With their current pitch redevelopment and the hierarchy of staff have all said they're leaving and stuff like that at the end of this. Just everything seems like a bad play. It's thinking.
Everybody jump, man overboard, jump, get the lifeboats ready.
So
even Michael Carter's jumping. He's not going down.
Yeah, I don't think. I feel sorry for the coach because I don't think he's been exactly set up in the best position to help that team move forward.
Just on the coach, Reese, I don't think he'll be there. As we record this, it's Sunday evening. I think he'll be gone tomorrow. I think he'll be dusted. Yeah,
I feel a bit sorry. You could almost argue that he's been set up to fail. They haven't really necessarily had. I mean, they've had a bit of recruitment, but they lost a lot of players last year. They lost Jacob Miller. Jacob Miller and Mason Lino. If you had Jacob Miller back in that side, they're a lot better. They've got half a chance. In response to your thing, I don't think Mason Lino is an answer for us going forward. He looked good, and he was their best player. And put him in a better side, he'd probably look even better. But I thought, take the first half out of this. But I thought Caesar.
I think we have.
Yeah. We're already technically reviewing 40 minutes of rugby. I think Caesar was.
And we're going to make it last an hour.
I thought Caesar played well.
He did.
And the second half, he ran with the ball much better. Again, and it come back to what Cameron was saying. Cameron? No. Yeah. Cameron.
Cameron last week.
When he runs with the ball and takes on the line, he's so much more of a threat. There was one where he just before one of our tries, he cut inside between 2 players and was about a metre away from scoring a try himself on his own. Obviously, the try set up was going between 2 forwards, and then obviously the offload to Holroyd. I would have Caesar over Lino. I would rather give Caesar another year than I'd give Lino a year, because then you've got 3. Because you've got consistency. Then you almost starting again if you replace Caesar with Lino. So that's my opinion.
Ash Hanley, unfortunately, got injured. We're not quite sure the extent of it yet. Do you feel, with Newman coming back, do you feel who would have dropped out for you, James, if Ash were fit, and with Harry coming back, who would you like to have seen, or who would you?
It'd have been Alforts for me because Hanley's not a centre, so I don't think Alforts has done bad, and he's doing a lot of this diagonal running nonsense that stresses us all out. But Hanley's not a centre, so I'd like to see him back on the wing where we know he plays his best. Last season he was one of the, if not the best winger in Super League. So yeah, it's great at making your players be available for other positions, but play him in the position where he's best at, so we can get him finding his feet and stuff. Especially with Newman, when we put them two on the same side as each other against teams like Wigan and stuff like that, we shut down their fastest players and really made them struggle to make meters and stuff like that. Them two were brilliant together, so it'd have to be Alforts without a shadow of doubt, unfortunately. Especially after Fuss's recent performance as well, like going back to last year, we'd have probably said him without even thinking about it, but I think he's really coming to his own at the start of this season. So, yeah, Alforts. Not because he's bad, just because it's the obvious choice.
Agree with that, Reese?
I'd take the crab off the pitch, yeah. Now, don't get me wrong. I feel like there's a time and place for what Alforts does. And I think it's really good when the game has lost its structure and it's a bit random, it's a bit chaotic, because when, the Reece Martin try against Saints came from Alforts in broken play, running across where people weren't in that position. But don't do it on our own line, for God's sake. I think he did it once on our own line. We got tackled like a metre out from the post. It nearly became a goal line dropout. Like, I think there's a time and place for what he does. And he got 6 tackle busts and he still made 117 metres forward, despite all the crabbing that he did. Quite a quick crab, I may add. Quicker than most crabs you'll see at Robin Hood's Bay.
A quick crab.
But yeah, if Hanley was fit, Fussy's getting over 100 metres per game. He's carrying really hard. He's if he can get into that. He was the leading try scorer in the NRL in 2018. So, if you can get him anywhere near that, having him and Hanley. I mean, Hanley was the leading meter maker last year. So, but then Alforts was only 4 or 5 places behind him. So, again, it's not a bad problem. I'd rather not have Hanley out. But the problem is now, do you start Newman? Is Newman fit enough to start again? Or do you bring Bentley back, leave McDonnell in, start Reece at centre, and then bring Newman on at half-time against Castle?
I like all those options that you've just said. Any of those are fine with me.
Any of the above.
Yeah, any of those. Richie Myler, I think it's only fair because we have stuck the boot in quite a few times this year, but we stick the boot in, but we also pat on the back and praise. Richie Myler's best game this season, Reese, would you agree with that?
Well, 3 assists in 1 game, would say so. He's now actually on 5 assists for the season so far in 4 games. So he's on track to get about 30, which is a Jake the Snake sort of stats. So, no, but he's, after saying the last couple of games, he's been much more secure under the high ball. He's made better decisions. There was like some, again, bad passes in the first half, but we can take the first half out of it. But much better. And again, against Saints, he added a lot more pace into the line as well. And I don't know if you've noticed, he's doing these really shallow arcing runs behind the play. So when the play, he'll start on the right-hand side or vice versa. And when the ball moves opposite way, he just does a really shallow arc behind and it almost disguising his own run. And then when he comes into the line, he adds a lot of pace. And I quite like that. It's hard. It's obviously a bit more obvious if he's standing on the left-hand side where it's going. But doing these shallow arcs and stuff. But I think, much better. Much better performances. Really great under the high ball again. Took some really good catches. And is sort of hopefully back to his old self.
Richie Myler's best game of the season, James, you reckon?
Yeah, absolutely. You could see earlier on that every sort of kick they took were going Myler's way, thinking he'd fall under the high ball. He didn't. He caught them pretty well, handled the pressure of it well, and the line speed coming up to him. And then it's obvious that in the past sort of week, we've really studied and practiced the attacking plays and creating attacking shape, because like Lee said, you could see him making that arch coming around the back from one side to the other, and it worked. Obviously, there were a couple of times where attacking players didn't come off, but you could see we were trying stuff that we needed to, and he were involved in a lot of those plays, and they worked well for us.
Speaking of kicks, by the way, I thought our kicking was excellent. Some of those bombs that Austin and Caesar, I think it was Austin more Caesar, wasn't it? They were so high.
Was it the first one where he sent it up and it spiraled? Everyone around was going to drop that because it was in the air for so long. It was spinning. It was crazy, like art.
It was brilliant. But I thought our kicking were great. Again, there was some really good kicks again, just in general play, but like much better kicking. I know that's something really sad to be really happy about.
It's got to be right, hasn't it? Though.
But yeah, I just think it was much better.
It's got to be right. Fussy Tour, 2 tries, ton in
should have got an
meters.
assist.
Yeah, again, did have the assist. That's just RFL's incompetence. That Reece getting that wrong. So let's talk about this man. Reece says in 2018 he was NRL's top try scorer. How many tries is he going to get this season, Reece?
15.
15? Do you
I
agree with that,
15 is reasonable.
More or less?
I think we'll go more. I think 21.
21? I think more. I think he's going to be... I'm going to go with my initial amount when we first signed him. I think I said 25. So I'm going to say 25 again. I just think keep him fit. Same thing again with Newman there. A match made in heaven. What did you make of the crowd? I think it was 11,700.
11.5, I think it was.
11.5. I thought that were really impressive. And also, shout out to the Wakey fans, because I thought a lot of those came over.
I didn't realise there was that many.
Yeah, exactly. Especially with what they're dealing with. I thought that was a decent crowd and a decent away crowd as well. Did you agree with that?
I was a bit disappointed actually.
Were you?
Well, we had 16,500 on the first game of the season, so I appreciate we won't get the same for Wakey because obviously Hull brought 2,000 with them. Although they won't be turning up ever again, will they? After they got absolutely dicked on Saturday. Well done, Salford. But I kind of was hoping for more around the 13 mark. I mean, I'm happy the game was on anyway. But the weather, I mean, Badger, great name by the way. Don't know why you call that, but we'll ask that later. Badger in the comments is saying the weather did play a factor, and there would have been people that wouldn't have come out because of the weather. So with the weather into taking into account, yeah, probably was a good attendance.
So it was freezing. So I did get to the game slightly earlier than usual. I tend to get into the ground about 5 to 8 or 5 minutes before, so 20 to or 5 to. So there were some pies available. You see where I'm going with this? Wilson's has been, I don't know if they've been booted out of Headingley or if the contract was up or the club have just decided to go with pucker pies. I have never in my life had a pucker pie until Friday. I got a steak pucker pie. Before I break this down and give it a review out of 10, have any of you two eaten at Headingley this year?
I had one last week. Oh, no, 2 weeks ago. Sorry. And I did say to you, I wasn't happy because 1, it was a pucker pie. And then 2, they put a pucker pie in a Wilson's bag.
I think they did that again. I definitely
and they did it. They definitely did it again on Friday because my uncle had one.
They did.
And he did it. So that is just scandalous in regardless. But
Pie news.
I suppose
section on the podcast.
Yeah. But
does anybody want to sponsor Pie News?
Ideally, Wilson's.
If we keep saying it, Wilson's.
I mean, the steak pie I had about 2 weeks ago was a solid 3.5, 4 out of 10.
3 out of 10, I agree. Got it written down here. 3 out of 10.
Have you had one yet, James?
Not this season. I had one probably about 2 seasons. I'm not going to bother either. I mean, the whole catering at Headingley, for me, I'd like to be renewed ASAP.
Agreed.
When you follow pages like Footy Scran and stuff that, and then you see what some stadiums have, and you think that's awesome, is that? And it's like £30, and it's £11 for a burger and chips. That's disastrous. And so I just, I, as much as I can, I don't entertain any food or drinks there now. I got a tea this week because it was freezing. I wanted to hold a hot drink, but even that tasted like mud. So.
I agree, though. We need to upgrade the catering inside.
Completely.
Inside and outside. There's so much. Especially in terms of like food vans and things now. Utilize more of that south stand outside and get some more.
The amount of street vendors we could have there and all the foods and things like that.
Pulled pork sandwiches and Indian street food.
Yeah.
Just on Piegate, Paul Rams in the comments is saying Ugly Mugs Cafe Sports Burger beats the pies any day of the week. So there you go.
Is that the cafe over the road?
I think it must be. Paul,
directly over the south stand.
Yeah, it must be. But I've
never ever been in there.
I've had the chippy behind the south stand, and to be fair, that actually wasn't that bad. I thought that was quite good, the fish and chips. But the burger one always seems rammed, and it does for what you're paying. It's not. But like you say, there's so many local independent people that would be more than happy to get, and that space you've got in the south stand, you could have a proper little fan zone there.
You could. Yeah. It should be utilised more. I agree. It should be utilised more.
1 o'clock Saturday kickoff games, like they're perfect for that.
Yeah, on Channel 4, of course they are. Create like a carnival vibe, make. We've said it loads on it. There's
so much space, isn't there, though, around the entire stadium?
Yeah, people want to go.
I remember 10 plus years ago, one random Friday night game, and they had this like big double-decker bus that were all decked out, but it was it was the north stand, but on the cricket side. And they had like this double-decker bus decked out, giving away like free rugby balls and all sorts of nonsense and stuff like that. And then it was just random but niche, and it made you want to go all the way around and look at that. But now you get to the south stand, you walk in and you walk to away places, and you don't really move around because you don't feel the need to. And I feel like you should want to have to go have a look around and pick up the buzz from the rest of the stadium and the other fans and stuff like that are in there.
Make it more of an event rather than a game. Now, the Rhinos do make it an event. They do. We can't argue that. There's music, there's entertainment everywhere. But add more to that. We need
Martin Kent back. We need Martin Kent back.
Pat Sharp back. Don't just sit there with that. Extend on it. Make like, for instance, I think this is the second match review running, or was it the whole game, Reese, where we mentioned beer, or was it a mailbag? Well, mentioned the beer.
To be fair, there's not really a pod one. I'm not having one, but so we're normally talking about it. But I think it is probably 3 pods in a row. We probably talked about pies or beer or food, just in general.
Anyway, that's a quick review. Pucker pies are awful. One player who's awesome and not awful at all, and one man that I am quite quickly falling deeply, madly in love with. Is Nene McDonald. It just seems really likable. Seems to have that kind of Conrad Hurrell type character about him. First try, I think that was Reese. Am I right in saying? First try, home debut, pure speed for his try. He broke away for the Hanley try at Saints with Miley. Broke away in the whole game. Clearly looking at a real gun player on his hands here, aren't we, James?
Absolutely. What was that guy called again who we replaced? I forgot. Distant memory now. Yeah, he's absolutely awesome. He's a brilliant signing. It was a bit unknown that prior to like the World Cup and all the rumours around him, but I think he's been brilliant. He's an awesome signing. I really like him.
He's averaging 163 metres per game.
163 meters.
He's also
Jesus Christ.
He's only missed 4 tackles in those 3 games as well. He's made 22 tackle busts in those 3 games, so he's getting just over 7 tackle busts in a game. His average carry is 11.7 meters. And the most interesting stat, and I've mentioned it loads, I love how he sometimes he just takes it on himself and picks it up at dummy half and just runs with it. It's one of the favourite things I love about him. He's ran the ball the second most from dummy half this year. He's ran the ball from dummy half the same as Cruz Leeming has, and only 2 less than Jared.
Yeah,
awesome.
Clearly just wants to get on the ball and run with it. And this is, I think this signing Nenny McDonald is a flavour, is a taste of what's to come with Rowan. This is the type of player that I believe Rowan can find us, can unearth and say, right, trust me, here he is. Because like I said, we didn't really know much about him. We know excuse me, playing the championship with Lee. But this is the type of player I think Rowan will be looking for.
What was he doing in the championship?
What? Who knows?
I don't understand. Like, I mean, from the games that we've seen him so far, like he is not a championship level player, is he? He's
clearly
league standard.
Agent Smith said to him the year before, "I'm going to Leeds Rhinos." Richard Hagar's getting the sack. You go play for Lee. What? Go play for Lee, and I'll meet you in 2023. And they've kind of, because that's how it works, I think.
Yeah. My friend came up with another chant for him, by the way. You know, it's that.
Oh, nah.
No, not that one, actually. No,
Watch
it's watch me whip, watch me nay.
Yeah. See, I said as a podcast, as Leeds fans, we have to workshop this. And we're getting better. We're getting better and better at it. Well, we'll have that countdown to a T.
We're getting better each game.
We have mentioned it once or twice. Reese did say at the time, he has forgotten him completely, but he did say at the time he didn't want Liam Sutcliffe to leave James. But now we have Nene. Are we gonna? There's nothing to miss there. If it's Sutcliffe or Nene, it's a clear winner.
There's a clear winner in Nenny McDonald.
Liam.
Yeah. Thanks, Liam. You did your job.
Man.
But sorry.
Thanks. Just to wrap things up, man of the match, Reese. Who was your man of the match, young man?
I'll give it to Fussy for his 2 tries and his assist and his work rate. So I'll give it to Fussy.
James?
Tough call.
Oh, he's having a think.
Yeah, this is a tough one.
All right, come on. We're trying to get this under an hour, James. Come on.
Yeah, I know. For once, I am actually a bit stumped.
You don't want to give it away.
I don't know. I really don't know. I think you know what? It's going to be a bit of an odd one, but I'm actually going to give it to Austin. He tackled a lot. His kicks were brilliant.
Wow.
He's looking better every week, so I think he deserves a bit of props. And that's me giving him the props I think he deserves.
Did have a good game. I think it was similar to Saints. I think one or two could have got it, but I agree with Reese. Fussy Tour coming into form, couple of tries, looking really showing us that NRL pedigree that we know he has, but we just need to see more of it. Fussy Tour, Lot Pod, man of the match. So that's a match review done. Just before we preview the Cast game and leave you all, we are pleased to say that we do have a new sponsor for this podcast, for this match review panel. Rugby league fans are hard to please. We all know that. But if you're looking for that perfect gift for the rugby league fan in your life, ZB Creative has got your back. From player illustrations to shirt illustrations to personalized gifts, he's got it all covered. Just search ZB Creative on all social media platforms. He's your man. Leeds fans, rugby league fans, I'm fairly certain, me uttering the words ZB Creative, you will have seen his awesome artwork all over social media. If you haven't, we would implore you to just search ZB Creative on all social media platforms. Check out his online Etsy store, which Statman Reese has very kindly popped up for us now on the YouTube stream, just to kind of show off a bit of ZB's work.
We'll make sure we share it after. Ignore this one of the Saints, these losers here. So there's loads of stuff on here, but the one I'm going to pick out, just because it's our Cameron. Can you see that? You probably can't see that because I've showed the wrong screen, haven't I? I'm going to zoom in. I'm going to zoom in on our man Cameron Smith, i.e. the mullet man.
The mullet
as ZB's been doing.
What a wonder. Comes in a frame, $10.99. What a bargain. He's available for commissions. If you want something specific or personal, all you have to do is drop ZB a message. His Etsy store is available He has a link on all of his social media platforms. So if you wanted to look on ZB Creative's Etsy store, if you go on Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, just click on the bio. His link there will take you directly to his Etsy store. ZB Creative on everything. So thank you very much to ZB Creative for sponsoring the Wakefield match review panel. I can speak from experience because I'm currently holding a ZB Creative Danny Maguire artwork frame. Look at that. Now I'm holding this up for people on Spotify. You're going to have to watch this back, but I'm holding this up. This has pride of place. It's Danny Maguire scoring in the 2017 Grand Final. That obviously has pride and place. I'll just give it a little pride and place in our living room. The pictures of the three boys are either side of that, and Harriet. Danny's central to the whole piece. And I can tell you, it's come in a brilliant frame from ZB. It came well packed, and it is well worth its money. And I would implore you to support a Leeds fan, because ZB is a Leeds fan, and go and buy some of his artwork. But like Reese says, on his Etsy store, there are other bits of artwork available too for other clubs or personalised gifts. So we do play Castleford next. Lucky us, because Castleford are looking absolutely shocking. Reese, predictions for the Castleford game?
They're going to be up for it. It's, again, their big game, their FA Cup final, Challenge Cup final, whatever they call it, their grand final. But with Newman back, Bentley coming back, players on form, Leeds by 20.
James, do you agree?
Yeah, like Reece says, they're going to be up for it. They always are against Leeds. And we always seem to make it tough against Cass when they're absolutely garbage dump. Absolutely on their ass. Make it tough for ourselves, but I think we're looking at 36 plus points easily past them.
My guy. People cannot be shocked by this version of Castleford, because this is Castleford. The previous version that won 2017 League Leagues, that was like an abnormality. It wasn't real, that version of Castleford. Castleford has just completely reverted.
Force, wasn't it? Disturbance in the force.
You're right, there was a disturbance in the force. These aren't the droids you're looking for.
Full of old men, past time.
They've just reverted back to type, so no one can be shocked by their start, by their squad, by Lee Radford leaving, because it's just normal. This is pure normality for Cass Tigers. Even Cass fans listening to this, first of all, how or why have you ended up here? But secondly, this is normality for them. There's nothing unusual here. Leeds by 68, I'm going to say. I think we'll absolutely destroy them. Absolutely destroy them. In terms of the squad then, gentlemen, does anything change there? We kind of briefly touched on it earlier, but if Gannon's back, or
I'd leave Gannon out for another week.
Yeah,
just give him the time. Don't rush concussion. Just let him have the time back. Hanley's out. It depends on Newman's fitness. It sounds like they've got a plan re Newman's fitness in terms of how much he'll do.
Yeah.
So I'm going to go on the fact they said he was going to do 25, 30 minutes last week. He probably wants to do a half next week. So I would start Reece at centre, keep McDonnell in, move Bentley into second row, and then probably leave it at that, I think.
James?
I agree with Reece. I think it'll be pretty similar. I think the only difference is we'll probably see Justin come back in. He'll be on the bench. And where that'll change the bench, that'll be where the difference is really this week. Is the bench will look a little bit different. But I agree with Reece with the starting. It'll probably be Martin in the centres, and Newman will probably see him play about 40 minutes. It probably makes sense, doesn't it?
Yeah, slowly but surely. Bring him back up to speed. Well, brilliant. James, thanks a lot for coming on, as always. Reece, awesome, as always.
One last thing
Thank you,
we finish really quickly, Eddie.
Go ahead.
There's been so many comments tonight on the channel on the YouTube as we've been doing this live. We've probably had as many viewers, I think, watching live as we ever have done. So big thank you to all those people that have been contributing as well, because the comments have been going insane tonight.
Awesome.
Exactly. Thank you to everybody that's watched this, because we do stream this live on YouTube and Twitter, and then take the recording and upload it onto all our podcast platforms. So thank everybody for engaging with us, for watching, and for getting involved. This is why we do it. We want more engagement from fans for the fans. We will be back with a mailbag with Jenna Brooks as we record this Monday. So tomorrow we will be live with Jenna Brooks. It got rescheduled last week. It's now tomorrow at 7:00. And we'll be back as well with our ordinary mailbag later in the week, building up to the Castleford game. Thanks, everybody, and we'll see you next time.
See ya.